I asked God to make me one of the premier stand-ups in the country. That's all I wanted from him. I asked him that in 1985. That's all I asked him for. He's done so much more for me since then. He's blessed me with so many more opportunities. He's opened up so many more doors. He's poured out so many more blessings. And it's hard for me sometimes, really, man, to even take it all in, because I feel like, wow, man, really, me? Thank you. I mean, I'll take them. Now, don't get me wrong, but it can be overwhelming at times. I often used to hear my mother say, it was a Sunday school teacher, and I remember these words all the time now. God will open up the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing that you won't have room enough to receive. Wow. I kept waiting on that day, Mom. Where's that day at? Because I got plenty of room, because I'm dirt poor right now. I got room for $1,000. I had room for, a car. I had all that. Now I understand. One of the things, though, that he's done for me that I've asked him for in my lifetimes is that he has made me matter. Now, okay, Steve, what do you mean by that? So I used to ask God a long time ago, one of my prayers was to help me matter. That I want to matter to the people that I come in contact with. Look, I just don't want to be a man that they meet or a young guy that they meet, and when they meet me, it doesn't cause a ripple in the pond. I want to make ripples in the pond. I want to be that rock that when you throw, you try to count the ripples as it go out. I want to be a 14 ripple rock. I don't know if you know what that means, but when I was a little boy, we used to stand on the bank at ponds and stuff and throw rocks out into the water. We should either skip them or we'd throw them, and when they would land in the water, they would create these rings that go out. If you threw it high enough and it dropped straight down in that water, the little rings would start forming out, like it would create a little waves, and these waves just look like circles in the water. And I remember one time I made 14 of them, and that's always stuck with me as a little boy. That was because nobody in my circle could make 14 rings, and they all counted them, so they saw them. So I enjoyed that because I had made a bigger splash, a bigger ring pattern than anybody else. So I've always asked God to make me matter in my own way, make me a big ring pattern. See, because that's important to me. Now, it was important to me, but I didn't understand why I needed that to be the important part of me. Because here is the other part. You know the thing that, to whom much is given, much is required. You've heard the thing, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. You know, those things like that you learn along the way. Well, if you matter to people, then guess what? All of those become a real possibility in your life. See, you can't ask for the yin without the yang. You can't ask for it without the responsibility that comes with it. See, God can't bless you with a lot, and then you think that it ain't gonna be a lot required. I have people pulling at me all day, but I have to remember that prayer I made. I wanted God to help me to matter. Now this is important, y'all, because see, if your prayer is to matter, that means that you wanna matter in the circle that you in. No matter how big the circle you in, no matter how small the circle you in, you want to make a difference. You want to have an impact on somebody's life in a positive way. If that's one of your prayers, guess what? God will readily give you that. Because when you do something for the least of these, it's just like you've done it on his behalf or you've done it as him. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm explaining that right, but when you do something for the less fortunate, you're doing God's work. God gonna bless you for doing that. So now here's the deal. So if your prayers to matter is to become an impactful person, then guess what? God gonna help you do that, because guess what? You're gonna do some work on his behalf, because you're gonna run across somebody that's less fortunate. You're gonna run across somebody that could use your impact. You're gonna run across somebody, man, that ain't quite knowing which way to go. And because you done been down that dirty dog road before, you can say, hey, my man, let me pull your coat to something. You can do this now, but let me tell you what's gonna happen. If I were you, I would consider this. That's making an impact. That's like the guy that passed out in L.A. named Lou Danzler, out there that had this Boys and Girls Center out there in the hood. And man, I can't tell you the people's lives he impacted. I remember when Eric Davis, a bad baseball player, came back and spoke at the group one time, looking at them kids and hugging Lou Danzler, thanking him, man, for changing his life. This guy became one of the superstars in the Major League Baseball. And then just thousands of people's lives that he affected. And when he passed, what he did was he left an imprint. He left an imprint that's huge. And that's all I wanted, man. I just said, man, if I could make an imprint, you know what I mean? It's like you walking through life, right? And you making footprints in sand. I want my footprints to be so deep that after I'm gone, people can still tell I had come through there. People can still see that oh man, Harvey walked over there. Hold up, man, look right here, man. Steve Harvey came through here. Because I want my footprints to be so deep in the sand that I matter to so many that even after I'm gone, I can still show you the way. That even after I'm gone, I still have an effect on my children, on my sons, so that my sons can look up one day and go, remember all the conversations we had. Man, my daddy used to tell me this, and maybe I can turn my sons into men. You understand? Turn my daughters into ladies. You understand? So they ain't got to follow the crowd and get out here. You know, man, you gotta want to matter, man. You gotta want to make a difference. And so at the end of my life, when it's all over, and the winds is blowing the sand back in my footprints, I want it to take a while. I want several sandstorms to have to come through there before my footprints get filled up. That's how much I want to matter. Mattering is important. It's got to be important to you. What's your legacy? What you gonna leave behind? What they gonna say about you? You know, it's a cold thing, you know, when you die, you get a tombstone. This tombstone has your date of birth, your tombstone has a dash, and your tombstone has the date of your death. Here lies so-and-so, born such and such a day, dash, died such and such a day. Now, you would think that the most important thing on that plaque, on that tombstone, is your birthday. Or you would think that the most important part on that tombstone is the day you left here. But it's not. See, when they put your birth date on the tombstone, they put a dash, and then they put the date you left here. The most important thing on that tombstone is that dash. What did you do while you were here? It ain't your birthday they're going to celebrate. It ain't the day you die they're going to celebrate. They're going to celebrate that dash, what you did while you was here. It's the smallest thing on that tombstone, but it's the most important thing on that, man. What you doing about your dash, y'all? You got to wake up to matter to somebody. You got to make an imprint in the sand. You got to affect some people's lives, and you got to do it all in a positive way. So we got to wake up every day thinking about them footprints we laying down, that legacy we creating, that what they gonna talk about when we gone moment. What you doing about your dash? My dash is January 17, 1957. That's my date. My dash, I'm working on that right now. Now when I leave here, what I want them to talk about Steve Harvey ain't January 17, 1957. Ain't the date I leave here. I want them to talk about that dash. Man, when he was on here, this what he did. Man, that was my man. All right, let's go.
You're listening to the Steve Harvey Morning Show
on Magic 107.5, 97.5.
Okay, today's daily deal for our listeners is a free professional teeth whitening kit. If you've always wanted your teeth professionally whitened so you have a bright white smile but haven't had the time or money, then listen up. National Dental Supply is sending a free Pro-Gel whitening kit to the first 50 Steve Harvey listeners who call right now. 800-347-1693. Pro-Gel is the same active ingredient and strength sold by many dentists for hundreds of dollars. And National Dental Supply is sending the first 50 callers from our station an entire Pro-Gel teeth whitening